Hey guys, this is Rahul, and in today's video we're gonna talk about whether you should buy the new GoPro Hero 7 Black. Oh, I know what you're thinking, that's the Hero 6, and I've been using this camera for the past 1 year, and yesterday when I saw the announcement, the big announcement, I was kinda disappointed because GoPro Hero 6 and GoPro Hero 7 look almost the same in specs. 4K 60, 1080 240. That's what this camera can do, so why should I buy the new camera? It has a live stream feature, it has one new feature called Hyper Smooth Stabilization, which is supposed to give you gimbal-like stabilization from an action camera. Now the Hero 6's stabilization is absolutely amazing. And when it came out, they said the same thing, that it gives you gimbal-like stabilization. Most action camera users don't use a gimbal. I, however, do. And I know that an action camera internally can never give as much stabilization as a 3-axis gimbal can, but it is always good to have better stabilization, because when you use them with gimbals, if the gimbal misses out a little bit, that much is stabilized in camera, so final footage comes out looking superbly great. So I'm not gonna bash them on improving an already great stabilization on the Hero 6. However, spec wise, there's only the new live stream feature, which some people care about. I do actually, but most people may not care about live streaming their adventures. There are two more features, however. The new Hyperlapse feature, and that's going to be giving you a little bit of creative freedom, because hyperlapses are kind of tough to create. So with this camera you can create walk-in hyperlapses, and that's going to be using the new Hyper Smooth to stabilize the video, and amazing results as claimed by the company, but we'd have to test it out whether normal people can be doing that. I think they can if they have the shooting sense, because hyperlapse is not something that is 100% done in camera like a time lapse. You just keep it and let whatever happen. You have to point your camera to a certain direction to rotate around a certain subject, so that's going to be done manually, so it will require a little bit of skill, but yes, the camera can do hyperlapse. And there is this new feature of auto HDR, which is something like a smart camera. The camera is going to sense out the scene and it's going to dial in the settings. People who like using cameras, people who know what they're doing, don't care about this feature, but GoPro is becoming more and more consumer oriented, and a consumer would benefit from such features. So those two features are good, but that's not gonna be enough for you to buy the new camera, especially if you own the Hero 6. If you own a Hero 4 or a Hero 5, this is a big upgrade. You can completely buy it. But here are 5 or 6 different points that I'm gonna mention about the Hero 6 that needs improvement, and if they have improved them, then we can actually think about buying them. The first thing is audio. The GoPro Hero 5 and Hero 6 have really bad audio. Hero 4 had better audio. That's because the Hero 5 and the Hero 6 are waterproof without a casing. So if the new camera has better audio, that's going to be one major thing, because if you're gonna live stream, you need better audio, right? Until unless not everyone's going to use a Rode Video Micro like I'm using on my Sony a7 III. So the first thing is audio quality has to be improved. Second thing is low light performance. This camera is unusable after 800 ISO, and that's a very low ISO. So low light performance has to improve. This time they haven't mentioned it, at least I didn't see it. So the low light performance is critical, because I've used this camera, whenever it goes a little dark, it performs worse than my Hero 4 sometimes, I feel. So that's the second thing. The third thing is the 1080 240 FPS slow motion was unusable. It was very grainy, very noisy. That's why we used it up to 120 FPS, and there the quality was absolutely great. So if the new 240 is better in quality, then we should buy that. So when you're watching a Hero 7 review, I don't have the Hero 7 yet, but if I get it, I'll test it this way. When you're watching the Hero 7 review, make sure that these points are covered. Next thing is the linear mode, which is great, which looks great for cinematic filming, and we use that a lot. That is limited to 2.7K 60 FPS. If the linear mode goes up to 2.7K 120 FPS, or even better 4K 30 and 4K 60 FPS, then that would immediately make this camera more usable, and I might actually buy it, because right now I'm stuck with 2.7K 60 FPS, and when I make 4K videos I have to scale them in post. It doesn't look that bad, because 2.7K, just 1.5 times scale gets you to 4K. So for me, 4K 30 or 4K 60 has to be in linear mode. That's the main thing. Fifth thing is 4K 60 on this camera, the Hero 6 Black, is unstabilized. So if 4K 60 on the new camera is stabilized, then that's a huge thing, because this camera limits the stabilization at 4K 30. So if you have 4K 60 stabilized video, then it will be worth buying. Before we go, I'm going to show you my settings. These are my settings that we used for the optimum video quality, and everything is mostly set manually. This is a Pro Tune mode. You have to turn the Pro Tune mode. That's how you turn it on, with the power button, and then you have to put in these settings. For sunny days, keep the white balance to 5500. For cloudy days, move it out to 6000, or even very overcast gloomy days, move it out to 6,500. Use manual white balance. In night you can use auto white balance. This is all for daytime shooting. Limit the ISO to 400. That's what I do, because I don't like ISO 800 and too noisy. At night you can do that, or you can just increase the exposure in post and stabilize it. The noise will be the same anyways. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to try to get a Hero 7 and do this type of testing. Till then, bye.